Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has ordered the deployment of an army battalion to Kalama local government area of Kwara State, following a deadly attack on the Nuku and Woro communities by suspected terrorists. Presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, who made this known in a statement, said the troops will lead Operation Savannah Shield to flush out the attackers, as the president condemned the assault and described the gunmen as heartless for targeting defenseless civilians. Kwara State officials says at least 75 residents were killed in the attack, while the president urged stronger collaboration between federal and state agencies to ensure justice and provide relief for affected communities. Vice President Kashim Shettima has commended Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwifuru for what he described as a mature and unbiased approach to restoring peace after the Oso-Eda and Amasiri crisis. Speaking at a Southeast Stakeholders Forum in Enugu, Shettima expressed confidence that the governor's action would deliver lasting peace in the affected communities. He also urged Southeast leaders to harness the region's mineral resources for development, reaffirming the federal government's commitment to regional growth. The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, Professor Joash Amopitan, has called on the National Assembly to fast-track the amendment of the Electoral Act to ensure smooth preparations for the 2027 general election. He made the appeal in Abuja at the first quarterly consultative meeting between INEC and civil society organizations. Sadia Yakubo tells us more.
The INEC chairman, Professor Josh Amopitan, says timely legislative action will strengthen electoral planning and public confidence. He revealed that INEC had received 171 letters of intent from groups seeking registration as political parties, adding that only those meeting constitutional and legal requirements will be approved.
Let's sensitize the public, particularly political party members, to refrain from hate speech, vote buying, misinformation, disinformation and violence during the campaigns, and to conduct the activities strictly within the framework of the law.
Prof. Amopitan revealed that the Commission will conduct by-elections and off-circle polls on Saturday, February 21st, 2026 in Rivers State and Kano State, while governorship elections will be conducted for Ekiti State on June 20 and Osun State for August 8, 2026. He assured that INEC remains committed to credible, transparent and timely elections nationwide. National President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Al-Hassan Yahya, highlighted the media's readiness to support the electoral process. He also called on journalists to uphold ethical standards when reporting on matters of national security and public interest.
Let me equally use this opportunity to commend you for your laudable programs and initiatives that you are bringing before the table. For us, our doors are always open. It is our hope and prayer you will come up with new innovations and objectives that are going to go in line with our professions.
Speaking on behalf of the civil society organizations, Grace Jerry pledged continued support for INEC and democracy in Nigeria. She urged the Commission to take all necessary steps to protect citizens' rights and ensure their vote counts.
In the lead-up to the FCT election, as usual, organizations who are going to be observing, organizations who are already making effort to sensitize the community, are also pledging their support to the Commission to ensure that the FCT area council election goes seamlessly, and to also call for INEC to do what is necessary, what is important to be done.
As preparations for a busy electoral calendar gather momentum, INEC insists that early legislative action, responsible media engagement, and sustained civil society partnership are critical to safeguarding Nigeria's democracy. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
The Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room has faulted the Senate for delaying the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025. The group raised concern at an emergency press briefing after the Senate adjourned without taking action on the proposed legislation. It warned that further delay could erode public trust in the electoral process as the country prepares for the 2027 general election. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that the House of Representatives has already passed the bill since December 2025.
The 2023 general elections were marked by promises from INEC on the wide use of technology, particularly the electronic transmission of results, aimed at improving transparency. The failure of that process later became a major subject of dispute in election tribunals. Now the Civil Society Situation Room says the Senate delay in passing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill could leave INEC with no choice but to conduct the 2027 elections under the current Electoral Act.
Results would not be mandatory. It would be at the discretion of INEC. The provision for punishment of election violators will not be implemented. And many of those changes that have been proposed will then be lost because the Senate has refused to discharge its responsibility to Nigerians.
The convener of the group, Comrade Zakaria, said the bill was developed after years of consultations and public hearings by committees of both chambers of the National Assembly, noting that INEC is expected by law to publish the timetable for the 2027 elections by April. According to him, if the amendment is not passed before then, the electoral body may be forced to issue its timetable and preparations based on the old law.
To patriotic Nigerians across the country that are asking the Senate to, in the next 1 or 2 days, to responsibly pass the amendment bill so that it can be transmitted to the president. And we hope that he will speedily assent to it so that Nigerians would be assured that the improved electoral law would be used for the conduct of the 2027 general elections in this country.
The Situation Room is therefore calling on the Senate to urgently reconvene and pass the bill, insisting that the matter is of national importance. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026 through third reading, but rejected proposals to make electronic transmission of results mandatory. Instead, lawmakers retained the existing provision, allowing INEC to transmit results in a manner prescribed by the Commission, with Senate President Godswill Akpabio insisting electronic transmission already exists in the law. The chamber also amended timelines for notices of election and candidate transmission, adjusted penalties for permanent voters' card trading, and set up a conference committee to harmonize the bill. Convicted leaders of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has filed an appeal at the Court of Appeal, faulting his trial and challenging the life sentence imposed by a federal high court in Abuja. Kanu urged that his trial was flawed, citing unresolved objections, alleged denial of fair hearing, and conviction under a law he says had already been repealed before judgment. He's asking the appellate court to quash his conviction, discharge and acquit him on all counts, while insisting on being present to conduct his appeal personally. The corruption trial of former Petroleum Minister Desiani Alison Madueke has resumed in London. with prosecutors presenting testimonies on alleged luxury properties, refurbishments linked to bribe proceeds. UK prosecutor says Alison Madueke received cash, private jet flights, luxury goods and property renovations from oil firms that secured lucrative contracts during her tenure as minister. The former OPEC president, who has been on bail since her arrest in 2015, denies the charges, while two other defendants linked to the case are also standing trials. A federal high court has rejected documents tendered by Omoyele Sowore in his cyberstalking trial involving alleged defamatory claims against President Bola Tinubu. During cross-examination, a prosecution witness denied knowledge of past critical statements made against the president by political figures, prompting extended questioning by the defense. The court granted final adjournment for cross-examination, warning that no further delay would be entertained in the interest of fairness and judicial efficiency. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating agricultural subsidies, intervention funds, aids and grants has summoned the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Bureau of Statistics, and key official instructions over alleged non-compliance with its probe. The committee expressed dissatisfaction with the level of cooperation so far. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
The resolution followed a motion raised by the Deputy Chairman of the committee, Sunday Umeha, during an investigative hearing held in Abuja. Umeha expressed concern that despite several invitations and official letters, the affected agencies and some financial institutions failed to honor the committee's summons.
That I am constrained to move this motion to compel NISAL MFP, Central Bank of Nigeria, SunTrust Bank, Stanbic IBTC Bank, National Bureau of Statistics to appear before this committee. Mr. Chairman, I also move that all the relevant processes for issuance of relevant summons on these aforementioned agencies and financial institutions.
Earlier at the hearing, representatives of Jais Bank, Unity Bank, and other financial institutions who appeared before the panel were unable to provide some key documents requested by the lawmakers. The chairman of the ad hoc committee, Jamo Adamu, subsequently directed the banks to submit detailed records of inflows and outflows of agricultural intervention funds, as well as comprehensive information on beneficiaries of the programs.
Colleagues paginated. I did the pagination myself.
I will do the pagination, sir.
So please, this is unacceptable. If you want to come before us, you should come before us. You cannot be going front and forth. You understand? I tried to even paginate. I thought you have that from introduction up to 16th.
The committee also questioned the transparency and accountability surrounding the disbursement of the funds, stressing that the investigation is aimed at ensuring that agricultural interventions reach genuine farmers. Responding to the lawmakers' queries, officials of some financial institutions acknowledged gaps in their documentation and pledged to cooperate fully with the committee.
We will seek the indulgence of the committee to enable us, put the documents in the order you just mentioned, and probably make an appearance in the next sitting coming up next Wednesday.
Dissatisfied with some of the presentations made, the ad hoc committee has now rescheduled its investigative hearing to Tuesday next week, warning that agencies and institutions that fail to comply risk sanctions. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Aniete. The Speaker of House of Representatives, Judin Abbas, says the federal government's decision to concession critical national assets in the transport and marine sector was driven by the need to improve efficiency, attract private investment, modernize infrastructure, enhance service delivery, and boost government revenue. He made this known while inaugurating an ad hoc committee to investigate and appraise the performance of commissioners operating federal airport and sea terminals, as well as related shipping activities from 2006 to 2025. Again, National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
The Speaker, represented by a member of the House, Lori Kwamuti, said the review has become necessary nearly 2 decades after the commencement of the concession agreement. Kwamuti stressed that the exercise is aimed at ensuring accountability, transparency, and the protection of national interests, and not to undermine private sector participation. He tasked the committee with examining concession agreements, assessing revenue remittances and other benefits to the federal government, and reviewing compliance with contractual, regulatory, and safety obligations.
The scope of this committee's assignment is broad and critical. It includes, but is not limited to, 1. An examination of the terms and conditions of concession agreements entered into from 2006 to 2025. An assessment of revenue flows, remittances, and other beneficial benefits accruing to the federal government and its agencies.
Chairman of the committee, Akintayo Kolawole, assured that the panel would strengthen governance, promote accountability, and improve service delivery in the maritime sector, adding that relevant stakeholders in both the public and private sectors would be engaged. The chairman of the Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, Dr. Mohammed Shehu, described the assignments as timely and pledged the Commission's full support to ensure improved revenue accruals to the federal government and the Federation account.
I call on all members of the committee and all stakeholders we shall engage to approach this mandate with the highest sense of duty, professionalism, and commitment to national interest. I am confident that through rigorous oversight, robust evidence-based analysis, and constructive engagement,
what we are always after is how can more revenue be mobilized into the Federation account as well as to the federal government. And I think this subcommittee and its assignment is timely, is apt, and I believe that the Commission will give its 110% support.
The House of Representatives says the findings of the committee will help determine whether existing concession agreements have delivered value for money and protected Nigeria's economic interests. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike has expressed satisfaction with the pace and quality of ongoing road and infrastructure projects across Abuja, following an inspection tour of several key project sites. Kabir Hassan reports.
The inspection tour took the minister to major road and infrastructure projects across the city, beginning with the Gishiri community in Katampe district, where he described as strategic, noting that it is among those expected to be inaugurated during the third year of the administration. The inspection team also assessed ongoing bridge construction along the Outer Southern Expressway, also known as Ring Road 1, before proceeding to the Apo-Wasa axis to inspect road designated for Apo traders. According to the minister, the projects are critical to improving mobility within the capital city and have clear timelines for completion.
Which is a well job done. We believe it's one of the roads that will be inaugurated in the third year of Mr. President's anniversary. And then again, we came to Ossex. You can see the bridges are going on. Well, good job, and then we're now here.
The FCT minister commended contractors handling the project, expressing satisfaction with the quality of work and the pace of delivery. He noted that the Chinese geoengineering construction company is among the firms executing major road projects under the Federal Capital Territory Administration, adding that the administration remains pleased with its performance. Speaking on the Abuja's development as the city marks its 50th anniversary, Wike said the country's capital has witnessed significant transformation in recent years, attributing to the changes to sustain investment in infrastructure. He stressed that all ongoing projects are being executed strictly in line with the Abuja Master Plan to ensure orderly development.
Quite impressed with the quality of jobs that have been carried out by the citizen. So we're happy with what we're doing. By tomorrow again, we'll go to Dunwadaki and where you have the Board of Benchers to see also what CCCC is doing.
Wike added that the focus remains on collective interests of residents and the continued development of the nation's capital. The inspection follows a series of infrastructure projects executed across the FCT in the past 1 year, including road networks, interchange, and urban renewal schemes linking satellite towns to city centers. The projects are aimed at reducing traffic congestion and improving access to commercial and resident area across Abuja. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare says it is collaborating with other agencies and the private sector to integrate screening services in the primary health care centers across the country. This says will help reduce cancer prevalence in the country. The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Aziak Adekunle Saiko, stated this in a message to mark this year's World Cancer Day in Abuja. Zarau Nasir reports.
World Cancer Day is marked on February 4 every year to raise awareness on cancer and to encourage its prevention, detection, and treatment. World Cancer Day was initiated by the Union for International Cancer Control to support the goals of the World Cancer Declaration, written in 2008. The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, says the integration of cancer screening services across primary health centers will help to institute national cancer screening program so that people can be routinely screened. He said the federal government is actively stepping up efforts to address the challenges confronting cancer patients, while also intensifying measures to strengthen cancer prevention nationwide.
The movement forward is now how to ensure that this is enforced diligently, and I think that is an ongoing concern. But in terms of tobacco use generally, there's a lot of discussions going on around this to ensure that we can use the instrument of taxation and other policies to reduce smoking generally, whether second-hand smoking or primary smoking in our country.
This year's World Cancer Day targets misinformation, raises awareness, and reduces stigma. Zahra Unasr, reporting for Global TV.
You're watching the live broadcast of the Midday News. The Midday News continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Rainfall events are being considered a temporary shift from the typical dry season condition. These rains are largely influenced by extratropical systems, and this variability is expected to occur intermittently until the onset of the rainy season. With this, going into Thursday, residents of Lagos, Ogun, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom states are expected to experience morning thunderstorms. If you're in this region, keep an umbrella handy. To other parts of the country, partly cloudy skies are expected with sunshine intervals in the northern states. Moving into the afternoon and evening hours of Thursday, thunderstorms are expected to intensify and spread, covering both the coastal and most parts of the inland cities, including parts of southern Benue and Kogi states. Warm temperatures are expected, so we advise remain well hydrated and avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the Information Minister, Mohammed Idris, has commended the Corporate Affairs Commission, that is CAC, for driving transparency, improving ease of doing business, and strengthening Nigeria's economic credibility ahead of its 35th anniversary. Highlighted the Commission's digital transformation, use of AI, and the beneficial owner register as key reform boosting investors' confidence. CAC's General Hussaini Ishaq Magali outlined upcoming initiative to include partnership with Google and AI-powered super platform. Nigeria stock had recorded their strongest daily gain in recent session as renewed investors' confidence followed closer cooperation between the police and capital market regulators. The rally came after Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetekun led the closing going ceremony at the Nigerian Exchange, signaling a stronger crackdown on And now on the foreign scene, Ghana's Statistician General Alhassan Idrisu says the country's inflation rate has fallen sharply to 3.8% in January 2026, down from 5.4% in December. The drop was driven mainly by easy food prices and slower non-food inflation, with both categories moderating significantly month on month. Authorities says the figure marks Ghana's lowest inflation level since the Consumer Price Index was rebased in 2021. Libyan prosecutors have opened an investigation into the killing of Sal Islam Gaddafi, son of former leader Muammar Gaddafi, who was shot during an attack on his home. Official says he died from gunshot wounds after a confrontation with unknown gunmen, though conflicting accounts have emerged about the location of his death. Forensic teams have been deployed as authorities work to identify the attackers and establish the motive behind the killing. And now in sport, inspector from the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, has described the Remo Star Sports Institution as the best football facility in West Africa. The assessment followed inspectors ahead of Nigeria's bid to host the final phase of the 2025-26 CAF African Cup of Nations Championship. CAF officials say the facility met international standards and are capable of hosting teams from across the country. Nigeria Football Federation has postponed its emergency congress in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State to March 23rd from the earlier February 14th date. Officials cite unforeseen circumstances amid legal threat and criticism from football reform groups challenging the legitimacy of the Congress. The meeting is expected to address urgent policy matters and preparations for the Federation's upcoming selective Congress. As we bring the midday news to an end, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for watching.